I'm going to speak to you today about something I hold close to my heart, something that has shaped every single decision I've made and will continue to influence the path I walk moving forward, focusing on yourself. You see, so many people go through life thinking that success is determined by external factors, where you're from, who you know, what kind of opportunities you're handed. But that's not true. The truth is, success, fulfillment, and personal growth all come down to one thing: focusing on yourself. Now, I want to clarify what I mean by focusing on yourself. This doesn't mean being selfish, inconsiderate, or self-centered. That's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is prioritizing your own growth, your own mental and emotional well-being, your own potential. We are all born with something special, a unique gift, a potential to do something amazing. But how often do we get lost in the noise, in the distractions that surround us? How often do we look outside of ourselves for validation, for answers, for direction? The truth is, no one can walk your journey for you. You have to walk it yourself, and it starts with focusing inward. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention. We're surrounded by distractions, by pressures, by opinions of others, all trying to pull us in different directions. The key to navigating all of this, to finding clarity, to unlocking your full potential, is learning how to focus on yourself and your inner purpose. This doesn't mean ignoring the world around you or becoming isolated. It means becoming so clear on your own vision and your own values that no amount of external noise can drown them out. You see, one of the biggest challenges in life is staying true to yourself. It's easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing, in what society expects from you, in what your friends, family, or colleagues think you should be doing. But the truth is, no one else has the same experiences as you. No one else has the same background, the same story, the same dreams. You are unique, and that uniqueness is your strength. So if you're always looking outside of yourself for answers, you'll never truly know who you are or what you're capable of. To focus on yourself, you have to start by being honest with yourself. I mean, really honest. You've got to look in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I really? What do I want out of life? What are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? What am I afraid of? What excites me? What do I believe in? These are tough questions, and the answers may not come immediately. But the process of asking them, of being real with yourself, is where growth begins. One of the hardest things we do as humans is confront our own fears. We have all these doubts, insecurities, and anxieties that hold us back from taking the next step, from pursuing our dreams. But the thing is, those fears are often a reflection of our own self-doubt. And until you're willing to face them head-on, you'll never fully tap into your potential. Focusing on yourself means understanding that those fears don't define you. They're just obstacles to be overcome, challenges to face, not walls that stop you in your tracks. This requires a shift in mindset, a change in how you view yourself and your potential. Too many people think that in order to succeed, they need to be perfect. But let me tell you right now, perfection is a lie. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody is flawless. The people you look up to, the ones you admire, they've made mistakes, they've failed. But they didn't let those failures stop them. They learned from them, grew from them, and kept moving forward. And that's where focusing on yourself becomes a game changer. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about how you handle it when it happens. It's about looking at failure as a lesson, an opportunity to grow, not a reason to quit. You will face setbacks. You will face criticism. You will face moments where you feel like everything is falling apart. But the only way to move forward is to keep focusing on yourself, to keep working on yourself, to keep believing in your own ability to rise above. Now, I understand that focusing on yourself doesn't always come easy. We're taught from a young age to be outward-facing, to seek approval from others, to follow the rules, to conform. But in order to truly find your purpose, to truly live your life on your own terms, you have to break free from those limitations. You have to stop looking for permission to be yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you're good enough, that you're capable, that you deserve success. You are the only one who can determine your worth, and it starts with believing in yourself. When you focus on yourself, you begin to realize that you are in control of your own destiny. You have the power to make decisions that align with your values and your purpose. You have the ability to create the life you want, but it requires commitment. It requires discipline. It requires you to stay true to who you are, even when things get tough. The path to success isn't easy. There's no magic formula, no secret shortcut. It's a journey, and it requires hard work, patience, and perseverance. But when you focus on yourself, when you invest in your own growth, when you prioritize your own well-being, you start to see results. You start to feel more confident, more capable, more aligned with who you were meant to be. You begin to trust yourself, to trust your decisions, to trust that you are capable of overcoming any challenge that comes your way. And here's the thing about focusing on yourself, it's not just about personal achievement. It's not just about getting ahead, making money, or gaining recognition. It's about living a life that is authentic, a life that is true to your values, a life that brings you peace and fulfillment. It's about being proud of who you are, not because of what you've accomplished, but because of the person you've become in the process. When you start focusing on yourself, you begin to see the world differently. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop worrying about what other people think of you. You stop measuring your worth based on external standards. Instead, you begin to measure your success by how true you are to yourself, how much you've grown, and how much you've learned along the way. This is why it's so important to block out the noise. The world is full of distractions, full of people trying to tell you who you should be, what you should do, what success should look like. But the truth is, success is personal. It's not about conforming to someone else's definition of success, it's about creating your own. It's about finding your own path and walking it with confidence, knowing that you're doing what's right for you. The beauty of focusing on yourself is that it's not a one-time thing, it's a lifelong practice. It's about constantly checking in with yourself, evaluating your goals, your values, your priorities. It's about continuing to grow, to evolve, to become the best version of yourself. And that journey is not always smooth. There will be bumps along the way. There will be moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments of failure. But each of those moments is a chance for you to learn, to grow, and to keep moving forward. So I want to encourage you, wherever you are in your journey, to focus on yourself, to believe in yourself, to commit to your own growth and development. Don't wait for someone else to tell you that you're ready. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The time is now. You have everything you need within you to succeed. All you have to do is focus, stay true to yourself, and keep moving forward. And when you do that, when you focus on yourself and give your all to your own growth, you'll begin to see the impact it has not only on your life, but on the lives of others around you. You'll inspire others to do the same, to focus on their own potential, to believe in themselves. Because when you focus on yourself, you're not just elevating your own life, you're elevating the world around you. And that's the power of focusing on yourself. The foundation of focusing on yourself is being brutally honest with who you are, your strengths, weaknesses, desires, and fears. This self-awareness helps you chart a true path, free from external distractions or societal pressures. Focusing on yourself requires accepting that failure is part of the journey. It's about learning from setbacks, growing stronger, and staying committed to personal growth despite challenges. True success comes from within. It's about rejecting the need for constant approval from others and instead trusting your own vision, decisions, and values to define your worth. Focusing on yourself isn't a one-time act, it's a lifelong process of growth, learning, and evolving. By staying committed to self-improvement, you unlock your potential and create an authentic, fulfilling life. Self-awareness and honesty are the bedrock of personal growth and the key to understanding who you truly are. Without these, we are like ships lost at sea, tossed around by external forces, going wherever the current may take us, with no clear direction, no sense of purpose. We live in a world that encourages us to focus outwardly on the achievements of others, the expectations of society, the standards set by external forces. It's easy to get caught up in this whirlwind and lose sight of who we are, of what we truly want. But without self-awareness, we can never begin to move towards our own truth. Without honesty, we are left lying to ourselves and others, unable to face the difficult but necessary truths that lead to genuine growth. It all starts with understanding that you are the most important person in your life. This is not about narcissism or selfishness. It's about recognizing that the only way to live a fulfilled life is to take responsibility for your own journey. It is about understanding that no one else can walk your path for you, and no one else can shape your future but you. But in order to walk that path, you must first understand where you are, who you are, and where you want to go. That understanding comes only through deep self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to look inward and honestly examine your thoughts, actions, and behaviors. It's about being able to assess yourself without judgment, to see your flaws and strengths clearly. It's about acknowledging both your potential and your limitations. But self-awareness is more than just understanding your behavior, it's about understanding the root causes behind it. It's about knowing your motivations, why you make the choices you make, why you react the way you do in certain situations, and what drives you. It's an ongoing process of reflection, of asking yourself tough questions, and being willing to face uncomfortable truths. For example, when you react with anger in a situation, it's easy to blame others. You can point fingers at the person who upset you or the circumstances that led to the confrontation. But self-awareness allows you to pause and reflect. It asks you, why did you feel angry? Is this reaction proportionate to what happened? Is there a deeper issue at play, such as insecurity, fear, or frustration, that triggered this emotion? It forces you to peel back the layers and dig deeper into the emotional landscape that shapes your responses. Once you understand why you feel a certain way, you can begin to take responsibility for your actions and start making choices that align more closely with the person you aspire to be. This process of reflection requires honesty, and honesty that sometimes feels uncomfortable, even painful. To be truly self-aware, you need to be brutally honest with yourself. It's easy to look at our strengths and pat ourselves on the back for them, but the real challenge lies in being able to identify and own our weaknesses. We all have them. No one is perfect. But it's easy to avoid acknowledging them. We tell ourselves little lies. I don't need to work on that. That's just how I am. It's not my fault. I'm not good enough. These excuses give us temporary comfort, but they also keep us stuck. They keep us from growing and evolving. Honesty forces us to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, this is who I am, both the good and the bad. But I have the power to change. Being honest with yourself means acknowledging the things you'd rather avoid, the things that are uncomfortable, inconvenient, or even frightening. It means taking ownership of your mistakes, your shortcomings, and your failures. It means recognizing that you have made poor decisions, hurt others, or failed to live up to your potential. And rather than making excuses or blaming external forces, you take responsibility. But honesty isn't just about looking at the past, it's about looking at the present and future as well. It's about recognizing what's working and what isn't, and being willing to make the necessary changes to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. One of the most difficult parts of being honest with yourself is accepting that you may not be where you want to be. We often have grand dreams and aspirations, but the reality is that not all of us are living the life we envisioned. It's easy to make excuses and tell ourselves that things will get better soon or that circumstances will change. But the truth is, nothing will change until you face the reality of where you are right now. Self-awareness and honesty allow you to face the truth of your current situation without sugarcoating it. You must acknowledge where you are, whether that's in a job you don't enjoy, a relationship that's unfulfilling, or a place in your life where you feel stuck. Once you accept your reality, you are empowered to change it. But change cannot happen if you keep lying to yourself about your situation or your potential. Honesty means acknowledging that the situation you're in is a result of your choices, and the only way out is through intentional, consistent action. It's about saying, this is where I am, and I'm going to do the work to move forward. I'm going to face the hard truths and make the necessary changes. This may mean having difficult conversations, facing fears, or confronting uncomfortable emotions. It may require letting go of toxic relationships, quitting bad habits, or changing your mindset. But no transformation can happen without first confronting the truth. This is where the true power of self-awareness and honesty lies. They allow you to take control of your life. The more you know about yourself, the better equipped you are to make decisions that serve your true purpose. You begin to understand what makes you tick, what drives you, and what holds you back. When you become aware of your strengths, you can lean into them. When you are clear about your weaknesses, you can work on improving them. And when you understand the fears that are holding you back, you can address them directly. Self-awareness is also key to building confidence. When you know yourself and are honest with yourself, there's no need to compare yourself to others. You stop measuring your worth based on someone else's achievements or standards. Instead, you embrace your unique qualities and abilities, and you begin to believe in your own potential. Confidence isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about accepting who you are, flaws and all, and knowing that you have everything you need to succeed. You trust yourself because you've done the hard work of self-exploration and have developed an honest understanding of who you are. It's important to note that self-awareness and honesty are not static qualities. They require continual effort. Self-awareness is an evolving process, and as you grow, you will continue to learn new things about yourself. As life changes, so too will your understanding of your strengths, your weaknesses, and your goals. Being honest with yourself also means being willing to confront the new truths that arise as you grow. What you believed about yourself 5 years ago may no longer apply, and that's okay. Embrace the growth. Embrace the learning. The deeper you go into self-awareness, the more you will realize that many of your fears and limitations are self-imposed. We often tell ourselves that we can't do something, that we aren't capable or worthy. These thoughts are born out of insecurities, past failures, or limiting beliefs. But self-awareness allows you to challenge those beliefs. It helps you see that you are not defined by your past mistakes, your circumstances, or your doubts. You are defined by your ability to grow, to learn, and to change. When you become truly honest with yourself, you begin to realize that the only thing standing between you and your goals is your own mindset. The limitations you place on yourself are often far greater than the real obstacles in your path. This process of being self-aware and honest is not easy. It requires vulnerability and courage. It means being willing to face the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. It's not always comfortable, but it is necessary. And once you start this journey, it will change you in ways you never expected. It will push you to become a better version of yourself, a version that is authentic, resilient, and empowered. By committing to self-awareness and honesty, you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, no matter how challenging that path may be. To live a fulfilling life, you must first understand who you are. You must be willing to face the truth of who you are, to understand the root of your motivations, to confront your fears, and to take responsibility for your own growth. Self-awareness and honesty are the tools that enable this transformation. They are the compass that guides you on your journey, helping you navigate the challenges of life with clarity and purpose. Once you embrace these principles, you will find the strength and courage to face whatever lies ahead, because you will have the confidence of knowing that you have the ability to shape your own destiny. Resilience in the face of failure is one of the most powerful qualities that you can cultivate in your life. It's the ability to face setbacks, challenges, and obstacles without allowing them to define you or determine your future. Instead of seeing failure as an end, resilient individuals view it as a lesson, an opportunity for growth, and a stepping stone towards something greater. In fact, resilience often emerges from the very experiences that others might perceive as insurmountable obstacles. It's the strength to continue moving forward despite adversity, to rise again after falling, and to see the potential in situations that seem hopeless. We've all experienced failure in some form or another. It could be failing a test, losing a job, facing rejection in relationships, or falling short of our own expectations. At the moment of failure, it feels like the world is collapsing. We doubt our abilities, we question our worth, and we wonder if it's even worth trying again. The emotional pain and disappointment can be overwhelming. However, it's important to understand that failure, while painful, is not the end of the road. It is simply part of the journey, a stepping stone on the path to success. Resilience, then, is not about avoiding failure. It's about how you respond to it. It's about your ability to recover and move forward. It's about maintaining a sense of purpose and clarity even in the face of adversity. To be resilient, you need to understand that failure is not a reflection of who you are as a person, but rather a momentary experience that can be used to learn and grow. One of the key aspects of resilience is the ability to reframe failure. Instead of seeing failure as something negative, resilient people see it as an opportunity to learn. Every failure brings with it valuable lessons that can shape who you become. Take the example of Thomas Edison, who is often quoted as saying, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's resilience was rooted in his belief that failure was simply part of the process of discovery. Each failure provided him with new information that could be used to refine his approach and move closer to his goal. Rather than giving up after each setback, he learned from it and kept pushing forward, ultimately achieving success. The same principle applies to every aspect of life. Whether you are building a career, pursuing a passion, or working on personal development, you will face setbacks. But it's how you choose to respond that defines your resilience. The key is to view failure not as a final destination, but as part of the journey. Resilience comes from the understanding that every failure is temporary and that success is often the result of persistence in the face of adversity. Another important aspect of resilience is emotional regulation. When we fail, emotions like frustration, disappointment, anger, and fear are often our first reactions. It's completely natural to feel these emotions when things don't go as planned. However, resilient individuals know how to manage these emotions and prevent them from taking over. They acknowledge their feelings, but they don't let those emotions control their actions. Instead of wallowing in self-pity or giving up entirely, resilient people take a step back, regain their composure, and focus on what they can learn from the experience. Emotional regulation is essential for bouncing back after failure. It allows you to move past the negative feelings associated with failure and focus on finding a solution. For example, imagine you've just been passed over for a promotion at work. It's natural to feel hurt and disappointed, but instead of dwelling on the rejection, you can use that emotional energy to evaluate what went wrong. Did you lack certain skills or experience? Did you fail to communicate your achievements effectively? By focusing on what you can control and learn from the experience, you can use failure as a tool for improvement rather than a reason to give up. Resilience also involves maintaining a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work, perseverance, and learning. This mindset stands in contrast to a fixed mindset, where people believe that their abilities are static and cannot be changed. People with a fixed mindset often view failure as a reflection of their inability, leading them to give up when things get tough. On the other hand, those with a growth mindset understand that failure is not a reflection of their intelligence or abilities, but rather a temporary setback in the process of growth. They believe that with effort and perseverance, they can improve and ultimately succeed. One of the most powerful aspects of resilience is the ability to learn from failure without internalizing it. When we fail, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that we are failures as individuals. However, resilient people are able to separate their actions from their identity. They understand that failure is not who they are, but simply something that happened. They don't let failure define them. Instead, they use it as an opportunity to gain clarity on what went wrong and how they can improve. For example, let's say you've been working on a personal project, putting in a lot of time and effort, only to have it fail. It's easy to feel like all that work was wasted and that you're not capable of succeeding. But resilient individuals recognize that their worth isn't tied to the outcome of that project. They know that failure is just part of the process, And instead of seeing it as a sign to give up, they use it as a valuable learning experience. They take stock of what went wrong, how they could have approached things differently, and how they can adjust their strategy moving forward. The failure does not define their worth or their future. Instead, it is simply a tool for growth. Another important aspect of resilience is perseverance. Resilience is not just about bouncing back after a setback, it's about pushing through difficult times when everything seems to be going wrong. It's about continuing to take action, even when you don't feel like it, even when the odds seem stacked against you. Perseverance is what keeps you going when you're tired, when you feel like giving up, when you're facing criticism or rejection. It's about maintaining your focus on your goals and continuing to move forward, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Perseverance is often the difference between those who succeed and those who give up. The road to success is rarely smooth, and there will be times when it seems like everything is working against you. It's during these times that resilience is most important. When everything falls apart, it can be easy to throw in the towel and walk away. But resilience is about sticking with it. It's about having the courage to continue even when the path seems uncertain, knowing that each small step forward brings you closer to your goal. Building resilience is a gradual process. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires practice, self-reflection, and a willingness to face challenges head-on. But just like any muscle, the more you use resilience, the stronger it becomes. Each failure you face provides an opportunity to strengthen your resilience. The more you practice bouncing back, the more natural it becomes to recover and move forward. It's important to remember that resilience doesn't mean being unaffected by failure. It doesn't mean that you will never feel the emotional impact of a setback. What resilience means is that, while you may feel hurt or disappointed, you don't let those feelings control you. You learn how to bounce back and continue moving forward, no matter how many times you fall. You develop the mental and emotional fortitude to keep pushing toward your goals, even when the road gets tough. In conclusion, resilience in the face of failure is not just about overcoming obstacles, but about embracing them as opportunities to grow. Failure is not something to be feared or avoided. It is simply a part of the process of achieving success. Resilience is about understanding that failure is temporary and that, with persistent self-reflection and a positive mindset, you can rise again stronger than before. It's about having the courage to keep moving forward, learning from each failure, and using those lessons to build a better future. Breaking free from external validation is one of the most liberating and empowering steps you can take in your personal journey. We live in a world that constantly seeks to measure our worth based on the opinions of others on how we look, how much money we make, what kind of car we drive, how many followers we have, or how much success we appear to be enjoying. Social media amplifies this desire for validation, creating an environment where it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish between who we truly are and who we think we should be based on the approval of others. The truth, however, is that external validation is fleeting and unreliable. It's a moving target dependent on forces that we cannot control, and relying on it for our sense of self-worth leads to a life of uncertainty, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. At the heart of breaking free from external validation is learning to trust and value yourself, regardless of what others may think or say. This is not to say that it's wrong to care about what others think. Human beings are social creatures, and it's natural to seek approval and connection. But when we place our worth entirely in the hands of others, we become slaves to their opinions. We lose the ability to think for ourselves, to make decisions based on our own values, and to pursue the things that truly bring us happiness and fulfillment. True freedom comes from learning to be secure in who you are, not because someone else has told you that you are worthy, but because you have come to know your own worth and value. To break free from the need for external validation, we first need to understand why we seek it in the first place. From a young age, many of us are conditioned to base our self-worth on the approval of others. Parents, teachers, peers, and society all contribute to this process. If we perform well in school, we receive praise. If we excel in sports or other activities, we gain recognition. If we dress a certain way or act according to societal standards, we're accepted. Over time, this external reinforcement becomes deeply ingrained in our psyche. We start to believe that our value is determined by how others see us, and this belief shapes our actions and decisions. This desire for validation can be rooted in a number of different factors, including a lack of self-esteem, fear of rejection, or an inherent desire for love and connection. But no matter the reason, seeking validation from others is ultimately unsustainable. People's opinions are subjective and can change at a moment's notice. What one person values, another may not, and chasing after these ever-changing standards can leave us feeling lost and disconnected from our true selves. The first step in breaking free from this cycle is self-awareness. We need to be honest with ourselves about why we seek validation and what it really means to us. Do we constantly compare ourselves to others because we feel inadequate? Are we always seeking approval from others because we fear rejection or criticism? Do we feel like we are only worthy if we meet certain external standards? By asking ourselves these questions and examining the root causes of our need for validation, we can begin to understand the patterns of behavior that are holding us back. Once we gain clarity on these patterns, we can start to challenge them. The next step in breaking free from external validation is to reframe our perspective on self-worth. Instead of looking to others to define our value, we need to redefine it for ourselves. This begins by understanding that our worth is not contingent upon what others think. Our value is inherent and cannot be changed by someone else's opinion. It's important to recognize that self-worth comes from within, not from external accomplishments or the approval of others. One way to cultivate this internal sense of worth is by developing self-compassion. Too often, we are our own harshest critics. We hold ourselves to impossible standards and beat ourselves up when we don't meet them. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is about treating ourselves with the same kindness, understanding, and support that we would offer a close friend. It's about recognizing that we are worthy of love and respect, regardless of our flaws or imperfections. When we practice self-compassion, we stop relying on external validation to feel good about ourselves, and instead, we create a sense of internal peace and acceptance. Another powerful way to break free from external validation is by learning to set boundaries. Boundaries are essential for protecting our emotional and mental well-being. When we allow others to dictate our actions, choices, and behaviors, we give away our power. We allow them to influence our self-worth and control our decisions. Setting boundaries means learning to say no when something doesn't align with our values or when it threatens our sense of self. It means standing firm in our beliefs and not compromising who we are to gain approval from others. Boundaries create a space where we can truly be ourselves without the constant need for validation from outside sources. It's also important to recognize that breaking free from external validation doesn't happen overnight. When we are authentic, we are true to ourselves, our values, our beliefs, our passions, and our desires. We stop pretending to be someone we're not in order to gain acceptance or approval. Instead, we own our uniqueness and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Authenticity is not about being perfect, it's about being real, unapologetically, and without fear of judgment. When we are authentic, we attract people who resonate with who we truly are, rather than people who are drawn to a version of ourselves that we've created to please them. Living authentically means doing things that bring us joy and fulfillment, not because we want to impress others, but because they align with our true desires. It's about pursuing passions and interests that light us up from the inside out. When we stop seeking validation from others, we free ourselves from the pressure of meeting other people's expectations, and we can start living a life that is truly our own. A significant part of breaking free from external validation is also learning to embrace failure. The fear of failure is often tied to the desire for approval. We worry that if we fail, others will see us as inadequate or unworthy. But in reality, failure is an essential part of growth. It's impossible to achieve anything meaningful without encountering failure along the way. When we stop fearing failure and stop letting it define us, we open ourselves up to new opportunities and experiences. We stop seeking validation for our success and learn to value the process of learning and growing, regardless of the outcome. In a society that constantly pushes the narrative of success, wealth, and fame, it can be difficult to break free from the need for external validation. However, true fulfillment comes not from the approval of others, but from living a life that is aligned with your values and passions. When you learn to trust yourself, to value yourself, and to be authentic, you no longer need to rely on external validation to feel whole. You become your own source of validation, and in doing so, you create a life that is not only more fulfilling, but also more peaceful and authentic. Continuous personal growth is a fundamental aspect of living a fulfilling life. It's the ongoing process of self-improvement, learning, and evolving that allows us to realize our full potential, not just in one aspect of life, but across all areas. This journey is not just about achieving external success or ticking off milestones. It's about a deeper internal transformation, developing a mindset that is open to learning, evolving, and adapting. Personal growth is about understanding yourself at a deeper level, developing new skills, fostering resilience, and becoming the best version of yourself. It requires commitment, discipline, and a willingness to step out of your comfort zone, yet it is one of the most rewarding pursuits you can embark on. At the heart of continuous personal growth is the concept of self-awareness. The first step in any form of growth is understanding who you are right now, your strengths, weaknesses, desires, and fears. Self-awareness allows you to become conscious of your habits, thought patterns, and behaviors. Without this awareness, it's difficult to make meaningful changes or improvements. And many people go through life reacting to situations without truly understanding why they behave the way they do or how their actions impact themselves and others. But self-awareness breaks through this fog. It enables you to identify areas in your life that require change and gives you the clarity needed to start working on them. Self-awareness is not only about recognizing flaws, but also about acknowledging your potential. It involves taking the time to reflect on your experiences, achievements, and personal history to understand what drives you. Why do you think the way you do? What motivates you? What are your core values? Understanding these questions and continually revisiting them is key to ensuring that you're on a path of true personal growth rather than simply reacting to life circumstances. Once you've developed self-awareness, the next step is setting goals that align with your true self. Goals give you direction and purpose. They serve as roadmaps to guide your growth, whether personal, professional, or relational. However, the key is setting goals that resonate with who you are at your core. Often, people set goals based on societal expectations or external pressures. For example, one might pursue a career path because it's seen as prestigious or lucrative, but if it doesn't align with your personal values or passions, it can lead to dissatisfaction and burnout. True personal growth comes from setting goals that are meaningful to you, goals that reflect your values, desires, and aspirations. These goals don't need to be grand or complex. Sometimes the most profound growth comes from simple, everyday improvements. It could be as small as committing to a daily meditation practice, reading a new book each month, or learning a new skill that challenges you. Personal growth doesn't have to involve drastic changes. It's about consistency and progress. Even small steps taken in the right direction can lead to monumental shifts in your mindset and life trajectory. Continuous growth also requires a growth mindset. A growth mindset, as opposed to a fixed mindset, is the belief that abilities, intelligence, and talent can be developed through hard work, perseverance, and dedication. People with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities are set in stone, and they tend to avoid challenges for fear of failure. On the other hand, those with a growth mindset embrace challenges, seeing them as opportunities to learn and improve. They understand that failure is not a reflection of their abilities, but rather a step in the process of growth. Adopting a growth mindset allows you to approach life with curiosity and resilience. It's the belief that you are never truly finished growing, that there is always room for improvement, regardless of how much you have achieved. When you have this mindset, setbacks become less discouraging. You begin to see them as part of the journey, as opportunities for learning rather than indicators of failure. This shift in perspective is crucial because it helps you maintain motivation, even when progress feels slow or when obstacles seem insurmountable. In the pursuit of continuous personal growth, embracing failure as a lesson rather than a setback is one of the most powerful shifts you can make. Another critical aspect of continuous personal growth is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. It involves being aware of your emotional state and how it impacts your thoughts and behaviors. Emotional intelligence allows you to navigate relationships more effectively, communicate with empathy, and manage stress more efficiently. It also helps you stay grounded in moments of difficulty, enabling you to respond to challenges with a calm and clear mind. Developing emotional intelligence requires practice. It involves learning to pause before reacting in emotionally charged situations, recognizing when you're being influenced by your emotions, and understanding how to regulate them. Emotional intelligence also helps you develop greater empathy for others, which is essential in building meaningful relationships. As you become more attuned to your own emotional responses and those of others, you begin to make better decisions, form deeper connections, and handle conflict more constructively. Emotional intelligence is a cornerstone of personal growth because it empowers you to cultivate healthier relationships with both yourself and others. Equally important to emotional intelligence is self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to control your impulses, stay focused on your goals, and maintain the persistence required to achieve long-term success. It is the inner strength that helps you push through discomfort, delay gratification, and stay committed to your vision even when distractions arise. In many ways, self-discipline is what separates those who achieve personal growth from those who remain stagnant. It's not always about working harder. Sometimes it's about making the right choices consistently day after day until those small actions compound into big results. Building self-discipline can be challenging because it often requires you to confront your weaknesses and make difficult choices. It might involve saying no to short-term pleasures in order to achieve long-term goals. It could mean resisting the urge to procrastinate or being consistent in your habits even when motivation wanes. However, self-discipline is a skill that can be developed over time. Like any muscle, it strengthens with use, and as you continue to exercise your self-discipline, it becomes easier to stay on course. Personal growth also requires a commitment to lifelong learning. The world is constantly evolving, and so are we. To continue growing, we need to stay curious and open to new ideas, perspectives, and knowledge. Lifelong learning doesn't just happen in formal educational settings. It's an ongoing process that can take many forms, from reading books and attending seminars to engaging in conversations and reflecting on our experiences. Lifelong learning allows us to adapt to new circumstances, stay ahead of challenges, and expand our horizons. It's about cultivating a mindset of curiosity and exploration, understanding that there is always something new to learn, whether about the world or ourselves. By embracing lifelong learning, we can avoid stagnation and ensure that we are continually expanding our abilities and understanding. Another key aspect of continuous personal growth is resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and unexpected obstacles. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to face difficulties with courage, and to keep moving forward, even when the road gets tough. Resilience is about accepting that failure is a part of the journey and using it as a tool for learning and growth. Rather than letting setbacks derail your progress, resilience allows you to use them as stepping stones on your path to success. Resilience involves developing mental and emotional strength, and it is built over time through experience. Each time you face a challenge and persevere, your resilience grows. It's about developing the confidence to know that no matter what happens, you have the ability to handle it. This confidence comes from knowing that you can overcome obstacles, learn from failures, and adapt to new situations. Resilience is not a trait that you are born with. It is something that can be cultivated through practice, reflection, and persistence. Finally, continuous personal growth requires taking consistent action. It's easy to read about personal growth, attend workshops, or listen to podcasts, But true growth only happens when you apply what you learn to your life. Taking action, even when it's uncomfortable or uncertain, is the key to making progress. Growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. It requires effort, commitment, and the willingness to step into the unknown. Taking action involves breaking down your larger goals into smaller, manageable steps and consistently working towards them. It's about making incremental progress each day, whether through small habits, new behaviors, or expanded knowledge. Even when you face setbacks or encounter obstacles, action keeps you moving forward and ensures that you're continually progressing on your path of personal growth. Continuous personal growth is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. It's a commitment to constantly evolve, to learn from each experience, and to keep pushing yourself to be better, wiser, and more resilient. The process requires dedication, self-awareness, and a willingness to embrace challenges and learn from failure. As you embark on this journey, remember that growth doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, self-compassion, and a growth mindset, you can continue to evolve into the person you are capable of becoming.